If you're looking for the latest NFL news and rumors, you're in the right place. Harrison Graham, Mitchell Renz coming at you here with a lot of stuff to talk about, and I hope y'all are ready to rock and roll. Let's get into the latest around Deshaun Watson and as a potential trade coming. Harrison, walk me through this Watson saga.
So there's a lot of stuff going on around Deshaun Watson, and that doesn't even include the fact that apparently there's a march set or scheduled in Houston to support their quarterback. He said, don't do that, COVID's high here. But we're not going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the latest on a possible trade. Adam Schefter on Sunday said there's a growing sense that Watson could be done in Houston across the league and within the Texans organization too. And I think the second part of that note is key. Obviously, Mitch, he's unhappy. Obviously, I think he wants out at this point. Now, Ian Rappaport says he hasn't officially demanded a trade, but I think that's more because he hasn't talked to the Texans at all. He's just doing whatever the hell he wants right now. And Rappaport did add that they're actually getting some calls on Deshaun Watson from some teams.
I mean, which should surprise nobody. It's not too often that you get a quarterback of his caliber at his age. And I would say just about every team, maybe minus the Chiefs and maybe the Bills at this point, would be extremely interested in going out and getting a player like Deshaun Watson. But for me, I mean, we'll try to track what happens here. This is something that I never thought in a million years would ever happen. But we have seen in the NFL, especially with a guy who has a no-trade clause, he holds a lot of power here, and he's going to be able to pick his destination. It's why we made a video ranking from 31 all the way down to 1 for potential Deshaun Watson trade destinations. A lot of people are calling.
Yeah, and this is coming from Schefter as well, just more on this. The growing sense from people in and around the Texans organization that Watson has played his last snap on the team. It's early in the offseason. There's a lot of time left, but Watson's feelings cannot and should not be underestimated. And keep in mind, he's got a no-trade clause. So if a trade does happen, he could have some power on what his next stop is going to end up being. And there's already odds on this, Mitch. And I find this very interesting. The Jets leading the way at plus 200, Dolphins at plus 300. Those wouldn't be the first two teams I would put on the list, although I think the Dolphins are interesting.
A lot of draft capital, a lot of money to spend, and then the Jets with the number 2 overall pick, that's a lot of, capital as well.
I think the Bears make a lot of sense. Ryan Pace can right that wrong from 2017 when he drafted Mitchell Trubisky over Deshaun Watson. I'm intrigued by that. The Broncos and Colts coming in as well. Obviously, you have the Patriots, the Eagles, a few other teams. Got your Raiders down there at plus 1,200. I don't think that's super likely. I think those first 4 or 5 teams are the ones that make the most sense. I think the Patriots are a dark horse, by the way. I think that would be interesting.
But if I'm Deshaun Watson, why would I want to go to the New England Patriots? I get that they're the Patriots. Yeah, there's no weapons there. And if there's a team that I am really looking at, I would be looking at a team, maybe even also like the Saints. We'll talk about Drew Brees coming up here in a little bit, whether or not he's done.
Money's a challenge.
The Carolina Panthers would be a very interesting team. I mean, you want to think about all those offensive weapons, and then, some of those other teams we mentioned. I mean, it's going to come down to, I think, ultimately the best fit. So go down in the comments right now and try to predict. Look into that crystal ball and try to make some sense of this, and let us know where will Deshaun Watson end up playing next season. All right, Harrison, why do the Bears make too much sense?
I just think this is obvious. If you're the Bears, this is your offseason. Re-sign Allen Robinson and go try and trade for Deshaun Watson. Look, the Texans might say, suck it, we're not trading him. But you should try and make it happen if you are Chicago. Now, I mentioned that no trade clause. If you're Watson, I want Allen Robinson on board. So that's a key if you're Chicago. You got to get him back on board before you can make a swing at Watson, in my opinion. If I'm Deshaun Watson and I'm trying to clear a trade, I'm not going to a team that has Darnell Mooney as the number 1 receiver. Allen Robinson, though, and Darnell Mooney? David Montgomery running the ball? That defense? That's something pretty intriguing. I think it makes a lot of sense if you can get Allen Robinson on board. Obviously, there's other teams worth talking about. I think the Dolphins are interesting, Mitch. If they did want to decide and trade Tua, are they ready to do that after 1 year? That's an interesting proposition as well.
I mean, the Dolphins, you brought up the draft capital. I mean, they have 4 picks in the top 50. They also have 3 picks in the top 36.
Got Tua.
Yeah, and
He's
sure,
an
you
asset.
have Tua. However, there's been multiple Dolphins players that have already come out and said, well, not everyone is totally sold on Tua, especially going forward, and that is a major issue, especially after 1 year. But when it really comes down to Watson, I would think about, how can I win a championship right away? Which teams are defense ready? Which teams have a lot of talent around it? Because I am that piece where if I come in to a team that's right there, I can take them over the top.
I have 3 teams.
Go.
Bears, 49ers, Dolphins.
Yeah, those are all pretty solid teams. I'll also throw out this one, and it's a dark horse name. I'm going to throw out a team like the Carolina Panthers. Okay. Christian McCaffrey. You have two great receivers, Robbie Anderson. You also have DJ Moore. And I have a lot of confidence in Matt Rule to be able to really build and continue to get better. And you got Matt Ryan, Drew Brees, and who's the other quarterback in that division? I can't think.
Tom Brady.
And Tom Brady. They're all aging.
They're all 75 years old.
Deshaun Watson could be the future in that division. So what we did last week was we tried to rank every single team's chances of going out and getting Deshaun Watson. If you like videos like this, if you like speculation, if you like news and rumors, we are the channel for you here. So seriously, go check it out. Let us know what you have to think about it. We would definitely appreciate it. But we're an interactive YouTube channel. Obviously, we're live right now, and we go live every single Wednesday and Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, 1 p.m. Pacific. But if you want more videos around news, rumors, mailbags, seriously, hit that big red button. Kansas City Chiefs news and rumors. It's all about this guy. What is going on with Patrick Mahomes? Is he going to be able to play this week against the Buffalo Bills?
There's not a lot of new information as we film this, just what we know based on what came out of the game last night. Obviously, here's what we know. Left the Browns game with a concussion. Didn't return, couldn't return. Now, Jay Glazer of Fox Sports after the game said that the Chiefs are optimistic about him being ready next week and that he tried to lobby to even return to that game. Obviously, if you have concussion symptoms, that's not an option in today's NFL. They take that very, very seriously, as they should. What's confused some people is this was not a typical looking hit of one that would result in a concussion because of two reasons. There wasn't a strong helmet-to-helmet contact, and his head was not slammed to the turf. Neither of those things happened. That doesn't mean you can't get a concussion, though. Obviously. That also doesn't mean he could have suffered it on a few plays earlier, and they just didn't know yet, and that hit may have put it over the top. We don't really know what the case may be. It seems like it might be more of a mild case at this point in time, Mitch, but obviously he has to clear protocols, and an independent doctor has to clear Patrick Mahomes. It's not a Mahomes decision. It's not a team decision. It's a medical decision.
So, yeah, I think the reason why people are really, I'll say, I don't want to use the word overreacting because anytime you're dealing with concussion, that's not the right word, but people are freaking out over it is because everyone saw him get up, and not only got up, he really struggled. I mean, I made this, point earlier on where it reminded me a lot of when a boxer tries to get up and they're doing that 10 count, and Mahomes is literally being helped up. You can see that he's dizzy. You can see the stars in there.
It was a whiplash type of hit.
Oh, and anytime that you see that, especially with a player that is the star caliber of a Patrick Mahomes, who is the face of the NFL, it's eye-opening, and that game was that one was a nail-biter. I can't believe that, the Chiefs were honestly able to, pull it out even without him. I got nervous, especially when Chad Henne threw that late interception. I was like, oh, no, here we go. But Patrick Mahomes, hopefully he's okay. Hopefully he is able to play against the Bills because I think deep down, everybody wants to see Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes in the best game possible.
Yeah, and I mean, we can't underestimate just what Mahomes means to this Chiefs team. I know we always talk about he has a ton of help around him.
Oh, he does.
They didn't score without him. Quarter and a half, 0 points.
I will give Andy Reid some credit, though. That last play, that
ballsy.
That took some cojones, which is why I love Andy Reid.
Chad Henne stepped in. I mean, Mahomes is huge, though. 24-1 in his last 25 starts, counting last year's playoff run. The Raiders, the only team to beat him over his last 25 games. I think it's simple. If he can't go in this game, you don't beat Buffalo. Buffalo's too good. This is not, just another playoff team. Could they have beaten, like, the 6th seed, maybe, like the Steelers without him? I think that's possible. But Buffalo, I don't think people realize this Chiefs team this year has not been flawless. There's some issues on this roster, and they have not played up to their standard that many would expect. Chris Jones and Frank Clark haven't been great this year. So I think Patrick Mahomes is a guy that can help hide some of those weaknesses, and if he's not out there, that's obviously going to be a major, major problem for Kansas City. I wanted to add this note. Carrington Harrison, who covers the Chiefs and does Sports Talk Radio in Kansas City, said this after the game last night, or this morning, actually, excuse me. Sources told me Patrick passed all of his tests last night. He didn't actually hit his head, which we discussed that earlier. There was a nerve in his neck that got tweaked that made him out of it. He's getting testing done on his nerve today, but did clear all of the tests last night. Now, I don't know if he's saying he's clear concussion protocol because there's a process there that you have to go through, but Could it possibly be that it was such a whiplash neck type of hit that he was just dizzy because he got spun around? I don't know. I don't know how much that actually comes into play here. But if it's more on the mild side of concussion, which is the point people are trying to make, there is a good chance he'll clear by next Sunday, whereas some concussions take more than a week.
Yeah, so I understand like the whole concussion thing. I also heard this was a report on Twitter as well, like the neck injury. Something that I read, which I thought was pretty interesting from a doctor that I personally follow on Twitter, was like, have you ever gotten up or, I don't know, you're driving your car, you're doing something, and you do get that sharp neck pain?
Yes.
So I get it very frequently, and then it kind of freezes you up. If you watch when Mahomes is standing up, he kind of has like that where he gets like locked in, and I don't know if he was super dizzy. He definitely looked dazed, but he just looked, I thought, genuinely concerned about what the heck just happened.
And kudos to the Chiefs for, hey, you're not going back in the game.
Oh, yeah.
We're doing this by the book, so that's that. Hopefully he'll play. Let us know what you guys think. Will Patrick Mahomes play against the Buffalo Bills? It seems good so far. He's tweeting after the game. He's in good spirits. He's got to clear the protocols. I'm going to type my wife for yes, but obviously he has to go take those steps, and hopefully he will be cleared in time for next Sunday.
I'm also going to type my wife for yes, and just like he tweeted, though, Harrison, anything is possible.
Yes.
All right, let's go to this next update here around Eric Bieniemy, and is he going to Houston? This one's been kind of all over the place here, so walk me through the latest around the Chiefs OC.
Well, it seems like it's Houston or bust at this point. I will add the Eagles did request an interview a few days ago, but as of now, there's no interview scheduled between Bieniemy and the Eagles. I don't know if that's on Philadelphia's side of things, on Bieniemy's side of things, but as of now, there's nothing scheduled. Now, normally, the NFL or the Texans would have to wait until the season is over to interview Eric Bieniemy because the Chiefs are still in the playoffs and they didn't interview him during their bye week of the playoffs in the wild card round. But the NFL and the Chiefs have allowed for a virtual interview to take place. Good on the Chiefs for letting a guy that they want to become a head coach someday do that. So he's interviewing with the Texans here on Monday. It's possible it's already taken place. It sounds like it's Houston or bust at this point for Bieniemy because there's only two openings left, and that's Philadelphia and Houston. My question for EB would be, do you want this job at this point? And I know like he's probably at the point where he can't get super picky, but if I'm Bieniemy, the first question I'm asking Houston in this interview is, how confident are you that we can get Deshaun Watson back on board?
And I don't really think that Houston or anybody in Houston can honestly look you in the camera
and give you a straight answer
and say, hey, we're confident that you're going to be able to come back. And from what it looks like, Deshaun, I think the easiest plug, though, for Bieniemy and why I think he actually also has a lot of power in this is because it sounds like it's Watson. It's like, if you don't bring in Eric Bieniemy,
I'm gone.
I'm a goner. So for Houston to make Deshaun Watson happy, the one guy that he's wanted from day one just to at least get an interview has been Eric Bieniemy.
Yeah.
And I know that Patrick Mahomes has talked to Mahomes like, hey, you're going to absolutely love this guy. We'll see what ultimately ends up happening, but if I'm Bieniemy and Watson's not there, it's probably the most unappealing job in the NFL. NFL fans, get yourself an NFL face covering. Hey, it's getting cold in January, no matter where you are. Woo. And not only can you look good, these things keep you really, really warm. So go to chatsports.com/stay-safe. They come in packs from 1, 2, 3 to 4. And all we're trying to do here is make sure that we can go live normal lives and watch some normal NFL playoff games. Because, man, if there is one thing that I miss, it is that playoff atmosphere. So all we always try to do here at Chat Sports is find you all great deals, but also let's be smart. Let's do the right things. Go get yourself an NFL face mask. All 32 teams, again, all these sizes, it's basically one size fits all, and they're machine washable.
Yes.
Do the right things. Wear a face mask. It'll be in the comments section below and in the description. Chatsports.com/stay-safe. More NFL news to get into. This one breaks my heart a little bit. Growing up, Drew Brees has always been one of my favorite players, and I believe he has played his final game, and it was a loss to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
And you mentioned just now, talking about the face mask there, the lack of a playoffs atmosphere. How sad was that seeing him blow kisses with basically no fans in the crowd?
Yeah.
I mean, for him to go out this way is really a shame. I mean, now he hasn't officially announced his retirement. He said, or he said something along the lines of, I'll think it over with the family. I've got a lot to think about. But based on how he acted, it's over, right? Like he's on the field after the game, 2 hours after, hanging out with Tom Brady, hanging out with his kids on the field.
There was even a report before the game started.
Jay Glazer reports that he has decided he's going to retire. Now, he could certainly sit down and reconsider things, but The guy can't throw the ball down.
I was just going to say, as much as I love Brees, if you watched the game, you were like,
the competitive fire's there. He competes his ass off. That's the only reason he was effective this year, because he's such a competitor. Here's what he had to say is, going to give myself the opportunity to think about the season, think about a lot of things just like I did last year, and make a decision. But I think he realizes now that it's just he can't do it anymore. Not at the level that he needs to give the Saints a real chance to compete for a Super Bowl. I mean, look at the stat line. It tells it all. I know numbers don't tell the whole story. In this case, it does. What does 19 completions for $134 tell you, Mitch? He can't throw the ball down the field.
Yep.
He just can't do it. His body will not allow him to. Had the 3 interceptions. It was painful watching him late in that game, Mitch, attempt to throw the ball down the field because they had to, down 10 points. Underthrew a ball, got tipped up, intercepted, game over. It's over for Drew Brees. It sucks, but he had a hell of a career.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. So what should Drew Brees do? Retire or type C for comeback? As much as I would love to see 9 back on the sidelines and hopefully a little bit more of a normal year, because I think for everything that Drew Brees has done, not just for the Saints, but for the city of New Orleans, I would have loved to see him get the proper send-off. Unfortunately, that's not going to happen. But also my mind is, well, from an NFL standpoint, he definitely needs to hang him up. So I'm going to type my R for retire.